Hello everyone, this is Winter Alliance and I'm back with another video. So today I'm going to be showing you an alternative way of creating 808 sub-sounds with audio sampling instead of synthesis. And when we're done, you'll have some finished product that sounds something like this. And if I was to solo out the 808, it'll sound like this. So it's got kind of an interesting texture that you wouldn't actually be able to create with synthesis, and it's just sort of an interesting way of creating kick drums using alternative methods. It's just a sort of sound design technique. So the audio sample that I used to create this sound is the sound of me blowing over the top of a glass bottle, which originally sounds like this. Which isn't very exciting, but with some creative audio processing inside of the Reason sampler, we can create this into an 808 sound. And I just recorded this on a cheap condenser microphone, but if you don't have any sort of microphone to record this sort of sound, I'll put a download link in the description to the sample so y'all could still follow along and create the sound. Yeah, so either go ahead and record a sound or grab the one in the description, and then you can follow along with the video. Alright, so what we'll do first is we'll create a combinator to house everything. And inside this combinator, go ahead and create a NNXT advanced sampler, reset the device, and open it up. Alright, so what I need now to do is to import this sample. And for me, it'll be over in the song samples. Let's see, all self-contained samples, and here it is. And if you don't see it, this menu, what you can do is you can go over to your audio sample, right-click on it, click Bounce Clips to New Sample, and it should show up in that sub-menu. Alright, so let's go ahead and just drag it in. And then what we'll do first to make sure it plays on the right key is click on it and go to set root note from pitch detection. And then that auto maps it chromatically so that whenever we play a C note, it actually plays a C note. Alright, so now go over to the key poly, turn it down to 1, turn group mono on, and keep it on mono retrake. That way it doesn't play more than one note because this is a bass sound. Turn down the velocity mod here, because we want it to be consistent no matter what level we play the key at. And take the sample start and move it up to 6%. And we're doing this because with my original sample, there was a gap of silence before the sound started, so I'm just sort of editing that out. So you might not need to do that if you're using a different sample. Then go down to the loop start, move it up to 9.2, and move the loop end to 23. And what that'll do is just take this sound and loop it so it can kind of create a sustained bass note. And this will kind of just depend on whatever your sample sounds like. Just sort of mess with the loop start and end point to get a nice loop sound. And we'll move the fade in over here to 1 just so it doesn't pop. And then we'll move this down a little bit to around there just to kind of add a nice fade to the sample. Alright, so the main kick sound comes from this modulation envelope section. So what we'll do is remove the release, and then we'll bring the decay down to around 61. And then we'll take the pitch mod to go all the way up, and take the filter and move it all the way up as well. So what this is doing is taking the pitch of the sound and moving it down really fast, and also the filter of the sound and moving it down really fast, and that's what creates that attack sound. And now in the filter section, go ahead and bring it down to 38 Hz, and the resonance up slightly to 14. And now it sounds a lot more kick drumish if you play it back. But as you probably noticed, it's quite high up, so go ahead and go over to this pitch and take it down 2 octaves. Now we have a quite much bassier tone. Now it's already starting to sound loads better. And now let's move on to the amp envelope. Go ahead and bring that sustain down, and bring the decay all the way up to about like 24, 25 seconds. Not entirely sure why I did it quite like that, but now it kind of just adds a nice envelope to the sound. And then you can also experiment with this release too if you want a longer or shorter sound. Alright, so that's the sampler out of the way. Let's go ahead and add some effects to kind of fatten things up. Let's go ahead and start off by a soft tube saturation knob. And if you don't have this, you can probably use the propeller head Audiomatic retro transformer. The tape mode is pretty good with this sort of thing. You can also use a scream, but with this, I'm using it because of this keep low right here. Use it on quite a lot of kick sounds. It just sort of fattens things up. So yeah, we'll turn this all the way up to 3.9. That just sort of makes it louder and also fattens it up. And next we're going to add some compression. You can use any compressor, but for today I'm going to be using the soft tube FET compressor, which is one of my personal favorites. So we'll take the input gain up to 1.1, The ratio to 8.1, so quite a lot of compression. The attack at halfway, and the release as slow as possible, because once this sound kicks in with a compression, we want to just jump right back to its initial volume. And then bring the output gain up around 8.9 decibels. It's going to be a pretty extreme compression. So here we go. This is what it should sound like all compressed. All right, and now we're going to add some equalization to kind of make the sound a little bit better. So let's use the Trident A range is what I initially used for this. Again, any sort of equalizer works. I just prefer this one. It has a really nice tone to it. So we're going to go ahead and initialize the patch. Take this band that's at 12, move it all the way up, add some nice sparkling high end. Change this one to 3 and bring it down to negative 1.3. Kind of scoop out some. And then for this upper mids, go ahead and put it at 250 and bring it down around 2 decibels to kind of cut out some of the mud. So this is kind of a confusing EQ to look at, but all it's doing is just kind of adding a top end boost to add some sizzle and sparkle. It's cutting some here, cutting some low mids, and then that's pretty much it that's going on with that. All right, so the last thing that we're going to do is drop in the vocoder and change it to the equalizer mode, put it on 4-band, and just leave it there. So your completed kick sound should sound something like this. And this vocoder kind of has an interesting effect on sub sounds because it takes the bass sound and kind of tightens it up. I've really been a fan of it, also sine waves as well. So it's kind of a cool effect to use. All right, so that's all for today. Make sure to experiment with different sizes of glass bottles and shapes because it'll change the character of the sound due to the whistling sound that the bottle creates. So mess around with that to create different kick tones. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for more tutorials and music, and feel free to drop your ideas for future tutorials in the comments because I'm going to be doing more of these in the next coming months and need some ideas for what y'all want to see in videos. Thanks, and I'll see you guys all next time.